I'm Joe DeGiulio with another quick lesson. Today we're going to be working with Crackle medium, something that maybe some of you distressing folk artists have used before, but what Crackle medium is, it actually makes this cracked up, interesting distressed veneer, a paint film, over the top of the original color. It looks almost like a raku glaze when you're going ahead and doing pottery. So what we're going to do is to show you how to get this desired effect, but more importantly, how to control the medium to get the cracks to go in the direction you want. That's very specific. What I've got here is I've already taken a panel here, a hard film panel, that I've got it pre-taped just to give to protect the edges so that we can have a nice finished piece. On here, it's been painted already with Matisse acrylic. You can use structure or flow for this matter. But it's a 3-layer system. First layer is the acrylic paint. The second layer is the Crackle medium itself. And the Crackle medium has to be placed down and allowed to dry for a little bit, like an hour or so. It really has a large open time, but we want to go ahead and let it dry and set a little bit. Don't try to heat set this with blow dryers because it actually will destroy the properties of the film. So that's the second layer. The final layer is going to be Matisse's background color because they are the ones that are going to activate the crackling medium. So at this point in the game, I'm just going to use my Polar Flow 1-inch wash brush and apply the crackling medium. The thicker the layer, the wider the crack. So I'm going to just put different thicknesses of layers. A very thin layer, first of all. Then I'm going to apply a thicker layer as we go down the line, so you can kind of see the different effects. The direction that you apply the medium will be the direction the cracks make. So in other words, right now, I'm going up and down. Up and down is going to make cracks this way. On the second set of squares, on the black, I'm going to go side by side. And again, the more that you put on, the thicker the cracks. So you can get some really interesting effects. Now this has been used by folk artists for quite some time, but I like to see this actually brought into fine artist work where it can be used in perhaps collage or something of that nature, abstract painting, because you can get some very interesting effects with the medium. So I've got the first body going this way, the second set are going this way. I'm going to kind of blotch like a stippling brush could actually be probably a better brush for using for this on this third panel. And some beautiful colors I've got here. The Matisse light red, of course, the Mars black. This is the South Ocean blue. And just for experiment for myself, I'm going to be using this metallic. I was wanting to see what would happen with metallic underneath. So we've got a copper or a bronze here. I haven't tried that yet, so we'll just see. And again, I'm just going to put a thick, lush. I'll do one in one direction, one in the other direction on this, just to see what we get. Now, we just have to go ahead and let it sit aside, and we'll come back in about an hour from now and see how it go ahead and develop when we use the background colors with it. And we're back. We've let the Crackle medium dry for a little bit. Now we're going to use the background colors. Now, if you've seen other previous quick lessons, you know that the background color is actually a gesso that actually has tannin blockers in it. So just think of it as a color gesso, but in this case, it is the color that's going on top. And what that's going to do is by us taking this and adding it in the same direction that the original was put on, in this case we've gone this way, it re-wets that medium and actually activates it. So my application right here, I want to do it the same direction and try to keep it the same thickness. I went up and down here, so I'm just going to add a little bit of that right here. But it is very opaque, these background colors, and they will have extreme high coverage. All right, let me clean my brush. We'll go on to the next one. But as it dries, the crackling effect starts to take place. Well, you can already see the effect starting to take place here. Very exciting, sort of like Christmas. Now, a little red with black, I always like that. I think that's kind of interesting. But you'll see the direction that I put the crackling medium on is the direction of cracks. Left to right here, up and down here. The thicker the level of the medium that's placed, the thicker the cracks will be. Love this stuff. Very interesting. Could you think of some ideas of how you could take this to a high art form, stepping up from the regular typical folk art use of it? I'm really excited to see what's going to happen when we use it on the metallics. Very interesting to see that effect. Now, once it completely dries, give it overnight. Then you can come back, because now that it's dry and solidified, you can use a matte or a gloss finish over the top of it to seal it. Now, I blotched this one, so I'm curious to see what effect this is going to have. I did left to right and up and down on the previous two squares. So this one right here, I'm just going to go ahead, cover as quick as I can, and I'm curious to see how that's going to affect. Now, it should be the medium and not the paint that is the deciding factor on how the cracks are made. Lastly, take a little bit of this screen. Now there's over 30 different background colors, and then the underneath color can be any of the 80 different colors in the range. Whether they're structure or the flow formula, it doesn't really matter on that base coat. You can use any one you want, whatever you happen to have. The important thing I like to do when I use this medium is to make sure that the colors contrast each other. The red and the black, the white and the red. High contrast is going to give a more vivid effect. There you go. So we'll just let them dry and see where we're at. Okay, we're back from letting the product go ahead and dry. The crackling medium has taken its effect. The thinner the layer, the finer the cracks. So as I came across, you could see thicker and thicker appearances from it. By removing the tape, you can see you've got some interesting effects there. It's a kind of a nice panel, almost like an artwork in itself. But I wanted you to be able to see the before and after results of using the crackling medium. Try to see if you can use the crackling medium in a fine art setting for yourself, or if you are a folk artist, to use it for distressing some of your frames or furnishings or any of your crafted work. I hope you enjoyed my little quick lesson. I'm Joe DiGiulio. Thanks for stopping in.